Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Monday Night America here on the NDB Media Network. It is just a glorious evening, November 8th, 2021, Veterans Week in 3-4 days, actually Thursday, so I don't know, is that 3 days from here? Or is that 4 days from who cares? Veterans Day, Thursday. Great, nice day. We're going to have the day off, be able to celebrate what our veterans have done for us and how they've served this country. And it is a wonderful week. Michael, where are you? Oh, there you are, Michael.
How you doing? I'm down here. I'm hiding down here, yes.
Yeah, okay, buddy. Hey, buddy, why didn't you invite our wonderful guest on?
It'd be a pleasure. I would like to welcome Vic Mignogna, who I am proud to say that I have known since 2012.
Wow.
11 is.
It's
been a while.
It has to be at least 11. That would only be 10 years, right?
Yeah.
So it's been more than that.
So it might be 10. Yeah, it's been a while. But yes. I am so happy that you came on with us tonight, because Roger and I have been talking about getting you on for a while, and I just went, okay, I'll ask him.
Yeah.
Honored to join you guys. It's a true honor.
Wow. We actually have quite a bit of activity going on. We already have a few likes I want to give. Oh, thank you, Ross. I appreciate it. Hardy
Hello,
Girls.
Ross. Hello, Bryant. Hello, Hardy Girl.
Yes, folks, everyone, why don't you let us know who you are? Well, we know who you are, but why don't you let us know where you hail from? Why don't you go ahead and put that comment? As you know, I'm out here on the West Coast. Michael is on the East Coast.
And I'm right smack dab in the middle.
And he is. And the humidity is bearable out there in Texas, right?
It's perfect. It's a perfect evening. It's 68 degrees and breezy and beautiful.
Wow. Hey, Bryant Dukes, thank you for the like as well. So we've got quite a few. Ross says, nice to see you, sir. Wow, you're not even in uniform. You're getting
kind of little Captain America action here.
Yeah.
Nice to see you, Ross.
Yes.
Ava, hello.
Wow. This is great. There's a lot.
Wild Talon.
Yeah.
I know Wild Talon.
There it is. And
oh, look who it is. Security. Brian Dukes has got in the room somehow. I don't know how.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Hardy Girl's over in Oakland. I'm looking. Hey, Hardy Girl up there.
Hi, Hardy Girl. You know, if you guys set up like this, it reminds me of the Brady Bunch opening, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Michael, if you look up like you're looking at Roger, it's the story of a man named Roger.
Oh, my goodness.
Who was doing a podcast of his own.
Oh, yes. That is cool, Vic. That is cool. We have Joey.
The sad part is we could do 9 boxes.
We actually can. Yeah, we really can. Stacy's in Oklahoma. We have Robert Widener.
Hey, Robert, Stacy, welcome.
We do. We have, let's see, Sherricane is in the house.
Wait a minute. Sherricane, are you Hardy Girl?
Oh, okay.
Okay, so just so you guys know, Sherricane is a very dear friend. She's one of our admins at Star Trek Continues Facebook page.
Oh, awesome.
And she's amazing. And she helped promote that we were doing this tonight.
Excellent. This is absolutely awesome. We have quite a few. We're going to try to get to everyone. And folks, if you do have questions as we move along, because as I mentioned to Vic, for any of you that have been on with us, it's a conversation. So yes. It's all good. Oh, thank you, Vic. He's already playing along.
Hello, Roger.
Brady Bunch, yes.
Michael, how are you? Roger. Michael, hello.
No, that is cool. Of course, Brian said he slipped through security. So, folks, if at any moment you have any questions, we're going to get to it. And Mindy says, of course,
Mindy and Brian, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Look at that. Oh, I'm sorry. Joey is in Canada. Robert is North Carolina.
North Carolina.
This is cool. We also have Alan Anderson.
Alan, hello, my friend.
And
Alan's one of our Neutral Zone family.
Oh, absolutely awesome. Well, folks, if at any time, any comments, we're going to try to get to them as best we can. If you have any questions, drop them off right there. But absolutely awesome. You guys see what we did as far as description. This young man has had a storied experience. Yeah,
Michael,
yes, you are.
Michael, does he even know? Hey, Raj,
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
Raj.
Sir.
Roger.
Yes.
How old are you?
I'm 52, young man.
I'm older than you are.
Well, look, you're still a young man because you're getting all about. Look, they always say you're as old as you feel, right? And my line is,
and I'm in
okay.
big trouble. I'm in really big trouble because I feel like I'm about 30.
Okay, that's good
But
because
I'm not.
always.
No, I'm not. But it's bad because I'll get out on a ball field, or a soccer field or a baseball field and break my head open because I still think I'm 30.
No, I hear you. I did that last weekend. I was out in
Harry,
Carson,
oh my
as I was
goodness.
mentioning to you.
Harry in Puerto Rico. Welcome, Harry.
Yeah, this is great, man. And of course, Brian says it's great to see you.
Brian is my little brother from. Oh, that's great, Ross. Thank you. Our 5th episode. Brian's my little brother from another mother.
Yeah. No, that is cool,
Alan,
folks.
you're right.
Oh, there it is already. Love your glass, Vic.
You love my glass? Yes, my little Star Trek.
Oh, yeah, that is awesome. Hey, Vic, by the way, have you seen the movie, what is it, Free Guy? It's
Oh, my goodness. Is that the one with, what's his name?
Yeah, what's his name? Yeah.
Colin Firth. No, Colin.
Oh, no. The guy that played, no, I can't even remember.
The Australian. He's Australian.
No, this is the one where he's like a non-playable character in a video game. Free Guy, it has...
Oh, it's don't say it. It's the Deadpool guy.
Yes, Deadpool.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Reynolds.
Yes, Ryan Reynolds.
Anyway. I have not seen it. I want to see it, and everybody that's mentioned it to me said that it's really great. I do want to see that.
When you see it, just remember the Captain America shirt that you have on right now. That's all. I am not one of those. It's just, Vic, it's not bad. I don't like to overplay movies or whatever because people look.
Well, you know what? I went and saw The Eternals last night, and it was not good.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say that. If there are those of you out there that like it, Bryant, if you like it, you're a loser. But I just didn't like it much. It was slow and it was forced, and it just, I didn't like it at all. But I did watch the new Dune movie.
Oh, and
my home theater upstairs, and it was. You have to watch. I think I have to watch it a few more times to figure out what the heck's going on.
That's what I thought. The first Dune movie that I saw, I hadn't read the book, and I didn't know what was going on either. So
I saw
it's similar to the same way.
I saw the movie with Sting, where the original Dune was Sting back in the day, and I still didn't remember much about it except Sting was in it and there were giant worms.
Exactly.
That was all I remembered.
Yeah.
But they've got quite a cast in this film. The guy that played Poe Dameron from the new Star Wars movies is in it.
Mm-hmm.
Zendaya, lovely actress that was in oh my gosh.
Yeah.
She was in Greatest Showman. She was the acrobat in Greatest Showman, and she's been in several other things. She's really, really, really good. And the guy that played Aquaman's in it. The girl that played the opera singer in Greatest Showman is in it. The guy that was the blue big bald guy in Dax, was that his name? In Drac in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh,
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's in it. It was a really, it was epic. It was a huge film. The scope of it was enormous.
I intend to watch it at home, but I have the movie membership with, and there's not a sell for the membership, but it's not AMC, it's a Regal, and I can see an unlimited amount of movies, and I want to check it out before it leaves the big screen.
Well, it's also on HBO Max.
Yes.
That's what we watched
which I have HBO Max, but
it was amazing.
Yeah, the TV that I have in my office right here, it's only about 40 inches. I'm talking about the TV, folks. So
I got to tell you, Raj, you need to watch it on a big screen, bro.
Yes.
There are plenty of movies that translate just fine on a regular television set, but then there are other movies that are so big and so epic, you need to experience them in a larger setting.
Like Star Trek Continues.
Oh, I was going to say that.
What a perfect example.
Oh.
Was that a setup or what?
I was just ready to say it, and you said it.
I put the ball on the tee, and you guys.
That's funny.
Oh.
Now, was that a golf one? Because I was going to say I was going to use a baseball analogy.
Oh no,
there's that grapefruit, baby.
No, that was t-ball. That was t-ball.
Oh, it is t-ball. All right, so we are on the same page. So, guys, we have a lot of comments that we're going to be getting to, and folks, it is quite active. I do want to give some shout outs and the likes right here. My cousin Sergio Lomelli, thank you. Scott Anthony Roldan, Rob Mahaffey, I apologize. It's my accent. I don't get the pronunciations. I was going to ask you before, Vic, but I gave it some thought. I was going to look it up, but I was too damn lazy to do it. But your last name.
Don't ask me how to say my last name.
No. I got that. I've been reprimanded by Mark. No, your heritage. Where's it from? What is your last name?
Oh, my goodness. It's Italian.
I kind of thought
How
so.
could you not know that?
I wasn't 100% certain. That's why when you were going to be honest, I'm not going to look.
Well, you see the GN combination.
Yeah.
In the Italian language makes the nya sound like lasagna, Bologna, filet mignon. Lou Ferrigno should actually pronounce his name Lou Ferrigno.
Ferrigno, huh?
GN combination, and my actual last name if you were in the old country, would be Mignogna.
Oh, Mignogna. No,
Mignogna.
Mignogna.
No.
Yes. No. But then when my grandparents came over to Ellis Island, it kind of turned into Mignogna. So.
Right. Oh, thanks, Brian.
Brian, a little late to the party, bro.
Hey, it's all good. Now we
falling behind there a little bit, bro.
Well, we do have to apologize. That's pretty good. We have to apologize to everyone. There is a 30-second delay, so then they have to think of something real snappy.
Okay.
Yeah. So we do apologize. We're not making fun of you overtly, but yeah, we are. But that's fine for everyone that's joining us.
Bryant can take it. He's a great kid.
Heck yeah. If you had played Picard instead of Kirk, I'd have to ask you how many lights you see behind. Oh, that's funny. That is good, man.
We should stop the interview right there because it's not going to get any better than that. That was the high point. Ross, you took it to the top, and now we're going down.
Dude, that is funny, man. But wow, look. All right, we're flying, folks. We're already going. We're going to be all over the place. I ask you to bear with us. But Star Trek continues. Obviously, I was a fan of it. I mentioned to Vic that I was in on an interview with Mark Lee on our network, and I equated it to being the rear in the F-14 Tomcat, but I still had a blast. And now I have a chance to speak to Mark did not dominate. I'm just saying it was a great interview. I was part of it. I was happy to be here. But now we can have another conversation, another opportunity. And
I'm happy to be here, and you can ask me anything you want.
Oh, that's absolutely. So how's the humidity in Texas? Oh, sorry, dude. I already asked that one. Perfect. It was late.
Yes. Perfect motorcycle weather.
Oh. Hey, so you ride? What do you ride?
Yamaha Raider.
Oh, awesome.
And I'll tell you what, cool. Man, you better be hanging on when you drop that thing into second gear. Holy moly, it's so fast. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to ride it.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to be talking about that as well, but Star Trek continues. I saw the series to its end within the last month, and I regret not seeing it the first time around. I was in several episodes, and people have heard me comment in the past, and I blew it. I was wrong. Folks, if you haven't seen Star Trek Continues, and I know everyone in the chat room has, but for everyone else, I don't know what you guys are doing. Star Trek Continues. Vic, yes. Why?
Well,
tell us how you got there. We'll talk about your career in a bit.
Sure.
Let's go straight to Star Trek Continues.
Absolutely. When I was a little boy, like probably you guys, that show, Star Trek, the original series, meant everything to me. My parents divorced when I was 9, and my mom and I moved into an apartment. We didn't have much furniture. In fact, we had a 19-inch black and white television that would sit on the floor in the living room because we didn't even have a table for it. And I would come home every day from school and watch Channel 11 in Pittsburgh Star Trek at 5 o'clock. And I found that I found that series, and I just fell in love with it. And you know, when you're a little kid, there's a point in your life when you're really young, you don't know that you're good at anything, right? When you're really young, you haven't really done much. You've not really ventured to try anything creative when you're 5 and 6, you know what I mean? Like 7, 8. But at some point in time, you're inspired by something. Maybe it's a sport. Maybe it's dancing. Maybe it's music. Maybe it's a movie. Maybe it's a comic book. Maybe it's a book you read. Maybe it's a trip to an art gallery. But at some point in everybody's life when they're children, something jumpstarts their imagination. Something just lights a fire in their creativity. And they want to do stuff to express their love for this thing, whatever it is. So for me, it was Star Trek. I'd seen tons of television shows, but nothing ever grabbed me like that show. And I started trying to build prop replicas of the communicators and the phasers. I'd never built anything before. I was 9. Wow. I wanted to try to make uniforms. I never sewed anything. I was 9. You know what I mean? I wanted to make special, like I wanted to buy models, build models of the Enterprise, and I would hang them in front of a black poster board, and then I would get my parents' movie camera, not video camera, because there weren't video cameras back then, and would run past the model of the Enterprise with the 8mm movie camera to make it look like the ship was flying past me. All of those things I started doing, rounding kids in the neighborhood up and making Star Trek episodes and building cardboard sets in the woods outside my mom and my apartment building. It jump-started my creativity. I even went to school and started auditioning for school plays because I wanted to do what Bill Shatner and Leonard Nimoy and DeForest Kelley were doing. I wanted to act and play characters that inspired people the way they inspired me. So fast forward 4 decades.
4 years.
I still had a love for Star Trek, obviously, always childhood love, but I'd moved on with my life, and let's say 3 decades, and I had still a very nostalgic love for Star Trek, and I majored in film in college and minored in theater. I continued to do all of the things that I started doing because of Star Trek over the years. And then about 3 decades later, I was in my early 40s, probably, I guess. And a girl that was part of my fan club contacted me one day, and she said, "You're a big Star Trek fan, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah." "You mean the original?" "Yeah." And she said, "There's this group on the internet, and they make episodes, and they like rebuilt some of the sets, and they make episodes of Star Trek. They play Star Trek." And I'm like, "Oh, cool." I looked them up. She was talking about New Voyages. I contacted them. They looked me up, and they're like, "Hey, you want to come be in one of our episodes?" And I was like, "Sure, that'd be fun." So I went up to upstate New York, and I was in one of their episodes, and then I directed one of their episodes, and I don't want to be too matter of fact, but as a filmmaker, as somebody who spent his life and developed his skills in acting and filmmaking and camera angles and lighting and blocking and acting and editing, directing, sound design, my first thought was, oh my gosh, this could be done so much better. I left thinking, wow, like these guys, they don't really know exactly what they're doing, and they mean well and they're having fun, but they don't know what they don't know. they're missing so many things that could be so much better. And so ultimately, I was sufficiently inspired to make one episode of the way a Star Trek episode, the way I remember Star Trek, and pay tribute to Bill Shatner. My childhood dream, I loved Captain Kirk. Captain Kirk was the father figure I didn't have. He was the role model that I wanted. And so I really wanted the chance to play that character. So I got a bunch of my friends together and partnered up, as you know, with Farragut Films and built a studio in South Georgia and made Pilgrim of Eternity, which was a sequel to the original Who Mourns for Adonais episode with the Greek god Apollo. And we made it. We had so much fun, and we put it out not knowing what anyone would think of it, because as you all know, Star Trek fans can be very particular and very opinionated on what they think. So I didn't expect anything. I just wanted to pay tribute to the original series. So we made it as best we could, and I did the best I could to play Captain Kirk because I loved that character and I wanted to pay tribute and homage to him. And we put Pilgrim of Eternity online, and it exploded. We got such a great response. So many people loved it. And I thought, wow, well, me and a couple guys paid for everything to make the first episode. But now that we've made an episode and we have a proof of concept, people know what we can do. It's not like some other people who raise a bunch of money based on promises that they don't fulfill. We already did it, and we proved that we could do it. We had an episode in the can. And so we launched a crowdfunding campaign, a Kickstarter, or as we called it, a Kirkstarter. And we raised enough money to make 2, 3, and 4. Then we launched another Kirkstarter, and we made 5, 6, and 7. And some of the stretch goals included building engineering, which no one had ever done since the original series. You're funny, Bryant. You're really funny. He said, man, I love Star Wars. Right. And then we launched one more crowdfunding campaign and made 8, 9, and 10, and 11. And then our stretch goal allowed us to build something that no one has ever built. And that is an interior planet set. No fan production has ever done that. And we did it. And I just want to say, I am so proud of everyone that was a part of Star Trek Continues. Everybody that came on board, pardon the pun, but everybody that came on board, I took them aside before they ever came to set. And I said, you need to understand, this is a labor of love. Nobody's making any money from this. You're not going to get rich from this. But I promise we're going to make something special, and you're going to have a good time. And you're going to make a lot of new friends. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to make something really special. And I got to tell you, and Michael has been a part of fan productions enough to know how rare and precious what I'm about to tell you is. Most fan productions, they can get a group of people together to make one episode. Mm-hmm. Maybe 2. But after that, you start having replacements. People start dropping off, and there's attrition. You know what I mean? People are like, hey, I took time off my job. I took time away from my family and away from work, and I came and helped out. I did it one time. I checked the box. I'm good. I don't want to do it again. And so consequently, a lot of fan productions have new actors in these roles and new people involved, and because they're constantly looking for new volunteers. I am incredibly humbled to tell you guys that the same 35 or 40 people came together every time to make every episode of Star Trek Continues. I can count on one hand the number of people that we lost over a 5-year period, both behind and in front of the camera. And I am incredibly proud of everybody that was in our series, everybody that was a part of our series. they sacrificed a great deal. And I think we've given the world something that will far outlive us. My personal dream is that 50 years from now, we'll all be long gone, but people will watch the original series, and then they'll watch Star Trek Continues, and then they'll go into the motion pictures, and it will become a part of that timeline to finish the 5-year mission.
Wow, Vic. Yeah. It shows. As a fan who missed out on his first run, as I mentioned, some incredible stuff. I shared just a few tidbits on my commentary, but I don't want to do that. I already spoke to you. Everyone else, there's quite a few comments already. Tiny bit of sarcasm, but lovely sarcasm. This goes back earlier about how Star Trek fans can be a bit particular.
Yes.
It was good. And Thirsty for Chicken says one of the best first episodes of a show I ever seen.
Oh, thank you, Thirsty for Chicken. Love you, buddy.
It was. And the comment of Michael Forrest reprising the role. How difficult was it? You've got the idea. Okay, what came first? You have the idea. You reached out. Well, tell us the story. Was it easy to happen?
Before you start, let me say one thing, Vic.
Yeah.
I was so honored to get to meet Michael Forrest and was down for 1 or 2 days when you filmed that. I mean, it was an incredible experience. Now go ahead.
Yeah, what a wonderful man, right? What a wonderful man.
And his wife was wonderful too.
Oh yes, Diana, absolutely. When I was working on New Voyages, I became friends with Barbara Luna.
Oh, yes.
Who played Marlena Moreau in the Mirror Mirror episode of Star Trek.
Yes.
Original series. And Luna, as she likes to be called, and I became good friends. We exchanged numbers and I stayed in touch with her. I moved out to LA and she lived in LA. And so I saw her occasionally. And I remember her telling me something years ago when we were working up at New Voyages. She actually said to me, you know, Mike Forrest, who played Apollo, he would love to do a Star Trek fan thing. Now, this was, quite honestly, this was 6 or 7 years before Star Trek Continues was even in my mind. But I remember her saying that. And I kind of logged it away in the back of my mind. And then when I decided to make one episode, I remembered that she had said that. And so I called Luna and I said, could you put me in touch with Mike Forrest? She said, sure. And Mike and I met at a deli in Burbank. And I sat down with him and I said, first of all, thank you for taking the time. It's an honor to meet you and so grateful for the time. And then I said, Mike, I have an Apollo redemption story. And his eyes lit up. And I told him the basic premise of the story idea, and he loved it. And he agreed to do it. And at the time, we were building sets like crazy down in Kingsland and trying to build out all of the main sets, obviously, to have them ready to shoot our episode. And partway through that time, before we ever got to shooting, his wife called me and said, Vic, you know I'm an actress too, right? And I was like, actually, no, Diane, I did not know that. And she said, well, I am. And if you could find a role for me. So I went back to the script and I just tweaked that opening teaser where Apollo beams over or materializes on the bridge with Athena and had Diana play Athena. She got a nice little juicy death scene and gave him that beautiful cameo that she was wearing that Apollo gave to Uhura. And they both came down and we had the best time ever. It was the most amazing thing. And especially like Michael said, standing there in a perfect uniform on a perfect recreation of the sets. And you're looking at Mike Forrest, who acted with Bill Shatner in the original Star Trek. And the 12-year-old inside of you is going crazy, but you have to be professional. You know, you have to do your thing but on the inside, you're just nerding out like crazy because you can't believe that you're actually doing this.
And he's walking down the corridors.
Yes. Yeah. And you know what? If you guys remember, Apollo was never on the ship.
No.
So Mike Forrest never really had the chance to shoot any scenes on the original sets. We have since had people on our sets that were on the original sets, but Mike was not one of them. And so I got to tell you guys, I want to tell you this too. When I wanted to make an episode, I have always believed that what made Star Trek so enduring and so special was the storytelling.
Yes.
I mean, at the end of the day, the sets are nice, but the sets are not the thing. And the costumes are cool, and phasers are cool, and the ship is neat. The special effects might be cute or kind of cheesy for, by today's standards. But none of those things are the point. All of those things are a means and a tool to tell a story, to tell an endearing story that hopefully inspires or makes you think or makes you contemplate a question, a moral question, an ethical question, a social issue. That is why Star Trek endured. It wasn't because the sets were awesome. The sets are nothing but a backdrop. In fact, you know what I tell people when I walk them through our sets in Kingsland? I'll turn around in the hallway and I'll say, you know why we built these sets as accurately as we could? And the tour group says, why? And I say, so you can forget them. Because that's the point. The sets are just a backdrop.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The sets are just a backdrop for telling a story. The sets are not the point. The story's the point. And the reason that you make the sets as accurately as you can is so that the moment the audience sees them, they go, holy crap, I'm on the original Enterprise. I mean, like, I'm there. This is exactly what I remember. And then they give you permission to tell them a story. They accept that they're there and they let you tell them a story. If the screen fades up and they're going, well, that doesn't look right. That's the wrong color. That wasn't that big. What's that doing there? I don't remember that. You know what they're not doing? They're not listening to the story. They're not paying attention to the story. So the reason that you make the sets accurate is so that the audience will accept where they are and they will give you permission to tell them a story. And from the very beginning of Star Trek Continues, my goal was always story first. Story, 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 story. I got hundreds of script submissions.
Oh, you did, really?
And wow. if you're 5 pages in and you still don't know what the story's about, it's probably not a good story.
Right.
But if you can sum it up in a line or two, and it just makes your imagination go, oh, wow, that would be cool. And so we set the bar very, very high with Star Trek Continues to tell compelling, thought-provoking, contemplative stories like the original series would have. And, when you get praise from Rod Roddenberry saying that if his dad were alive today, he would consider this canon, and that Rod does consider it canon. I mean, you can't ask for much more than that. And so everybody involved, James Kerwin, Rob Sawyer, Julian Higgins, people that wrote, Kipley, all of the people that wrote, Paul, and so many people that wrote and contributed to the stories and the scripts of our episodes. And then the production teams that brought them to life, that really knocked, like the makeup department, that just knocked it out of the park every time. And the prop people that just knocked it out of the park every time. And the wardrobe people that just knocked it out of the park every time. And the set people and the camera people and the lighting people and the sound people. There are 1,000 moving parts to making something like this. And if any one of them falls apart, the production can suffer horribly. But I am incredibly humbled and proud of everyone behind the camera and in front of the camera that were a part of Star Trek Continues. Whether they know it or not, I have a feeling that they're part of something that's going to far outlast them.
Wow. Vic, a stupid question. On imdb.com, I don't know if you checked it out, but there are series writing credits. I have to believe they're correct.
Yeah.
You mind if I mention those?
Please do. Judy Burns. Oh my gosh. You know what?
Bianchi,
the moment I started saying names, I probably,
right, yeah,
because I knew I was going to forget people.
Paul Bianchi, Kipley Brown, and you obviously will correct me. Judy Burns, Mark Cushman, Greg Dykstra.
Yes,
Steve,
my goodness.
Yeah, Steve Fraterola.
Yes.
Todd Habercorn. Houston Huddleston.
Yeah.
James Kerwin, Jack Marshall, some guy named Vic, I can't pronounce his last name. Susan Osborne, Gene Roddenberry, Robert J. Sawyer.
You know what, you guys?
Yeah.
You said Judy Burns. Now, you may not know who Judy Burns is, but I'm going to tell you right now who she is.
Please.
Judy Burns wrote The Tholian Web. Judy Burns wrote an original 3rd season episode of the original series of Star Trek called The Tholian Web. And she approached me. I didn't even know who she was. And she approached me and said, I've got a sequel idea, a follow-up story idea for The Tholian Web. And we met and she told me her idea and she wrote a script and we sat down and we tabled, read it and worked through it and made some adjustments. And that is our 8th episode, Still Treads the Shadow, when they go back to the Defiant and they find old Captain Kirk there and realize that he was duplicated. And while one Kirk beamed back to the Enterprise, there was another, Kirk was duplicated in what do you call it? The Defiant inner space when it was fading out and phasing out of this universe, and Kirk was duplicated, and one Kirk did not get rescued. He remained on the ship, and he was there for many, many years alone. And the whole idea of that was very, very powerful to me.
Oh, all of the stories, and we can go over each story in a moment. Robert J. Sawyer, Jack Trevino, and I believe Chris White. I don't know if those are all the credits, but Jack and Steve, Jack Trevino and Steve Fraterola, we gave them the story idea of Apollo. I basically gave them the idea, and they turned it into a screenplay. And then I gave Mark Cushman the basic idea of our Civil War episode 5, and Mark Cushman, by the way, of These Are the Voyages fame. This is the man who wrote 3 unbelievably comprehensive books on the making of the original series called These Are the Voyages. And Mark and I became friends because I did an audiobook of his first These Are the Voyages book, season 1. And I asked him if he'd like to write a screenplay to this story that I had where Kirk and McCoy are stuck in the Civil War. And he wrote the screenplay for that. Rob Sawyer is a very celebrated, amazing writer and author. And he was a big Star Trek fan. He was a friend of James Kerwin's, and he came down to watch us shoot an episode. And we put him in a uniform and had him in the bridge doing a little cameo. And then when it came time to write our 2-part finale, we had him do it. And along with James Kerwin, James and I met doing a film for him. And I met James for lunch and told James about an idea that I had for a mirror episode that would pick up right when evil Kirk and his landing party beam back to the Mirror Enterprise. And it continues, the whole episode is on the Mirror Enterprise, and it's what Spock does or doesn't do with the challenge that Kirk gave him before he beamed away. And James said, I'll write the script if you'll let me direct it.
And I said, sure. And he wrote the most amazing script and directed the hell out of episode 3, fairest of them all. And then James was family after that. He directed several episodes after that. He wrote episodes and directed episode 7. He directed 10 and 11. And Kipley, James and I came up with the idea for the black and white episode, our 9th episode. And Kipley said she wanted to try. She's the lovely blonde lady that's on camera, Smith, that plays Smith in our series. She was actually in Enterprise, I believe. And she just came to play for episode 3, and she became part of the family as well and got written into every episode after that. And when James and I came up with the story idea for episode 9, Kipley said, hey, could I take a shot at writing the screenplay? And we're like, sure. And she wrote the most amazing script for that. That's one of my favorite standalone episodes.
Really, that one?
With John Delancey.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. That was a classic Star Trek theme story there.
Vic, was it difficult being able to ask this talent, or your peers, to join Star Trek Continues? Did they reach out to you? And now I'm going on and on. Or did you reach out to them? Because look, you're talking about Marina Sirtis, was it?
Yeah.
Christopher Doohan.
Yeah.
Just of the ones that I recognize, and there are many others. Larry, we've had Larry on numerous times.
Larry
Nemechek.
Yeah, Larry's great.
A lot of fun.
I reached out to them.
Okay.
Most of our guest stars were people that I had done Comic-Con appearances with. You mentioned earlier that I've done a lot of voice acting work, and I've been in that industry for a long time. And so consequently, I've done a lot of appearances and signings at Comic-Cons and conventions over the years. And one of the wonderful things about doing those big Comic-Cons was meeting other actors. And in many cases, actors that I was a fan of when I was young, like Lou Ferrigno or Aaron Gray or Colin Baker or John Delancey or, and then I would meet people at conventions like Gigi Edgley from Farscape or Claire Kramer from Buffy or Cass Anvar from The Expanse and Mark Meir and so many other wonderful people. And James Kerwin was good friends with Colin and Nicola Bryant. James is a big Doctor Who fan. And so fortunately, we had these connections with all of these people. I knew John Delancey from doing events with him. And I called him one day and said, John, I have this script. And you know my Star Trek thing that I'm doing. He knew about it. And I said, there's a character that I think you would really be wonderful for. Can't pay you any money, but I'd love to have you read it. And he said, well, you know what? Send it to me. And if I like it, I'll do it. And I sent him the script for What Ships Are For. And 2 hours later, he called me and he said,
wow.
What a wonderful script. I'd be happy to do this. And of course, who played his wife, but Anne Lockhart from the original Battlestar Galactica. Rika Sharma from the new Battlestar Galactica and Star Trek Discovery. Jamie Bamber from Battlestar did a cameo.
Oh, I know. I was like, why? Yeah. It was a 5-minute cameo, but it was great.
Well, and he played Apollo in Battlestar Galactica, and in the Apollo episode,
which was great.
These were all people that I made friends with. Marina, Michael Dorn. These were all people that I was friends with from doing conventions together with them. So we were on a first name basis. I was a peer. You know what I mean? I wasn't some fanboy. I was an actor who was signing autographs 2 tables down. And so we would see each other at events and we'd sit in the green room and chat or have lunch or go out to dinner. So whenever there was an episode that had a guest starring role, I would think, okay, who do I know that I've met at Comic-Cons that I could ask to play this role. And that's how most of our guest stars came on board.
Absolutely awesome.
Thank you, David.
Wow. Yeah.
Thank you, David.
Look, I love all these comments from everyone, folks, and we can't get to everyone, but wow, David, that affects all of us. That is neat.
Yeah.
I get that. I really do. My mama is the one that got me into Star Trek, and I, being a younger pup, I guess, I remember being very, very young. I was hospitalized from getting back from Mexico. I was ill. I drank the water. Very young.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was very young, and I remember being in the hospital at 4 years old and arguing with my mother. No, Star Trek's on at this hour. And she was like, nope, you're under drugs, son. It was kind of funny. But that is one of my earliest moments, arguing with my mother in a hospital about Star Trek. That's crazy.
What? I think one of the most endearing comments that we have now heard thousands of times about Star Trek Continues is, I felt like I was 10 years old again watching Star Trek with my dad or with my mom. Or I felt like I had discovered episodes that had been locked in a vault somewhere for 50 years.
Yes.
I just, my heart swells, and I'm so humbled. Kenny Castle, oh my goodness. Kenny and I went to college together, and Kenny dressed up as Mr. Spock to my Captain Kirk in college for a Halloween party. I still have that picture, and Kenny came down and was one of the extras in our first episode.
Oh, wow. That is cool. Yes, it was awesome. We're getting emotional. We want more. Well, those are some other things that may be discussed in the future, but for right now, Paramount is doing what it's doing to restore order. And folks, we're not going to bore anyone with any of that. But yeah, look, I noticed there, Captain Kirk haircut right now.
What? Who?
What locks, young man? I'm not even going to embarrass myself.
What are you talking?
It's right there. Captain America.
This is so puffy. This is not Captain Kirk hair.
No, I think he wants you to get a Captain Kirk hair.
No. First of all,
are you sure?
No, look. First of all, the only one that could get Captain Kirk hair is probably me. I'm closer to it because, yeah, we'll leave it at that. You have the real stuff, so it's all good. Casey says, love you, brother. And it is really good. Some quick shout-outs, folks. Also, some additional likes. I'm going to go through it again. David Rooney, Bobby Nash, author.
Bobby
Sean.
Nash. Wow.
Yes.
Hi, Bobby.
He was actually on last week.
Yeah, he was on our show last week.
Oh, my gosh. Hope you're doing well, Bobby.
Yeah, that one was a lot of fun as well. 2 weeks, folks. Wow, we are just blown away. Billy Swanson, Tony Konopka, and I believe I may have mentioned these, but don't care. Sergio Lamelli, Scott Anthony Roldan, Rob Mahaffey, Bryant Dukes, and Ross Trowbridge. All of them likes our numbers. We have so many people, folks. There are so many people in the chat room now. If you didn't answer the first time, or if you did, let us know again. Where are you in the world? And just quick comments so we can give a shout out to you guys right now.
Yeah, and one other thing we better mention. Sometimes if some people share some of the Facebook links, if they're not set up to take everyone, sadly, we cannot see the comments. So if we are not mentioning your comments, that is why, and we are sorry, but there's nothing we can do about it.
There's actually one more. It's your privacy settings.
Yeah,
we should have said this early on, and I do apologize. It's technical stuff. But due to your privacy settings on Facebook, if you're commenting, we will never know. But if you try YouTube or you try the NDB Media page on Facebook, you should be okay. But enough with all that technical stuff.
Yeah.
Going back to it.
Going back to the fun stuff.
Yeah. Incredible stuff. You know, Vic, as a fan, you blew me away with the stories. I don't want to... There are people that still haven't seen it, so we need to direct them to that. But, and forgive me for saying this, dude, I was so bummed in that last episode. She quickly became my favorite character. She was great. Michelle Specht, I believe, right?
Yes, she did.
It looked like that woman was having all of you did. Forgive me. I'm not trying to show anyone up, but it looked like she was having a ball, dude, in that role.
Well, you know, when I started formulating the idea before we ever shot anything, Michelle and I talked about what role she would play because she's a great actress. And obviously
Yes.
she was going to be a part of it. And we talked about her playing maybe Nurse Chapel.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about her playing Yeoman Rand. And while we were kicking around what she would do, I was thinking to myself, I want this to start bridging the gap between the original series and Next Generation. I want to start making subtle little movements forward to where we know the timeline is going. As you saw in our first episode, it started out from the very first scene was an experimental holodeck that, you know, that was perfected, obviously, for Next Generation, but in the original series they didn't have that, and they didn't have a ship's counselor,
Right?
but a ship's counselor was pretty standard 100 years later in the Next Generation. So we thought about, why don't we make an original character that'll be the first ever experimental ship's counselor program that Starfleet's going to try out and see if it works. And they're going to try it on the Enterprise, and McCoy and Kirk and everybody are going to decide whether they think this is a program that should continue or not. And Michelle just absolutely knocked that role out of the park. I tell you what, I've told people often, she probably had one of the hardest jobs. And here's why. How in the hell do you establish a character of the iconic status to keep up with Chekhov, Sulu, Uhura, McCoy? You know what I mean? Like Scotty, you know, like those characters are iconic, and she had the job of creating a new character and held her own with those characters. That was a challenge in and of itself. Everybody had their challenges, but I think Michelle may have had one of the hardest challenges because, you know, there was a lot to measure up to, if you know what I mean.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, very quickly, that comment. Sean says he met you at a convention in North Carolina, and it's really cool. He was introducing
Sean, I'm
himself.
honored. Yes. Thank you, Sean. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to meet you and your son there.
Yeah, Phalanx has to get to work. But thank you for joining us, no doubt about it. And she and Todd did such a great job in the two-part finale. Yeah, McKenna's an iconic now as well. Clearly, forgive me, unabashedly. Yeah, again, I'm old, I'm sexist. She's very easy on the eyes. Oh, she's also a great entertainer as well.
Oh, yeah.
She stood well with
absolutely.
all of you guys.
And you know what? I think one of our favorite experiences at the Star Trek Vegas convention was to go there as fans and see people cosplaying as Dr. McKenna. I remember
that is cool.
I remember Michelle taking a photo with like 3 or 4 different women dressed as McKenna, and she was in her uniform and got this picture of like 5 McKennas.
Yeah, someone's complaining about the weather right there. Whatever.
Brian, I'll tell you, the answer is because Texas is magic.
Oh, I refer to when we... first of all, I want to thank Vic, number one. All of our guests, when we ask them to be here at a particular time, they always are. So Michael will ask them to be here, you know, maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes early, and just be ready so we can go over some stuff. I usually get in at 6:30 just because I know Michael's in there, just to say, okay, hi, Mike, got to go do stuff, but we're on. And I logged in, and as I'm logging in, I'm like, holy crap! I said to myself, obviously I didn't say, he was already there waiting. That is the earliest
I
we've
beat
ever
Roger
had
to his own show, everybody.
You did.
Yeah. And it was, I was stuttering my way through the moment because it was strange. I was like, you know, okay, Michael, let's do what we're going to do. And Vic
and I wasn't there.
Right. And it was just really amazing. And I love what Vic told me. He says, just wanted to assure you guys that I was going to show up. Like, we were certain you were going to show up.
Well, you know, actors
It
can
was
be flaky sometimes.
You know what? Yeah, but no, some are not. But
I'm going to turn the fan up a little higher in my room. 1 second.
Oh, you got I thought it was nice weather out there.
It is, but I'm in a room with lights on and the door is closed and it's kind of getting a little warm. So I just turned my fan on a little higher.
How many lights? I'm sorry. I'm being stupid. Now I'm being stupid.
5.
All right. You got them right. Folks, my brother, actually, thank you, Louis. Thank you for the shout out. We got a like from my brother, Luis Noriega, Ellen Anderson. Louis is, he's 8 years my senior, so he's grown up with you as well. No shot against anyone's age, folks. But, I mean, oh my goodness. Just talking about Star Trek Continues, all the other stuff that you've done. And if we go by IMDb, you got a lot going on right now. I'm not going to ask what you can and cannot share because that's not fair. But, at any time.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm doing a lot of right now, and I actually really enjoy it, are audiobooks.
Really?
When COVID hit, studios kind of shut down. Thank you, Robert. Thank you. I'm so glad you were able to join us. When COVID hit, a lot of the studios, well, all the studios, shut down because we don't want people coming into the studio and people in close quarters. And so I was just hanging out at the house, and very fortunately, thank God, an author contacted me out of the blue. Thank you, Nick, thank you for that, Thirsty for Chicken. An author contacted me and said, I'm a fan of your voice work, and I would love to hire you to record an audiobook version of my novel. And I thought, well, I've got a studio in my home. I have a beautiful home studio, and I could do that right here. So I agreed. And every morning I would make a cup of coffee in my Keurig and throw my robe on and come in here and turn the studio on and record a chapter a day. And I kicked out an audiobook called In Plain Sight by Dan Willis. And it turned out great. Several of the people that are in your chat right now, I think, have listened to it. And while I was working on that book, another author contacted me named William Hastings. And he asked me if he could hire me to do an audiobook. And so I did his book called The Crimson Spark, which was an amazing, beautiful fantasy kind of a novel. And I finished that, and I thought, wow, I really enjoyed audiobooks more than I thought I would. And then just recently, I met some other people. In fact, I believe they might even be in the chat, Brian and Mindy Peterson. And Brian is an amazing author who's written a great deal. And I'm currently working on an audiobook for him called Paper Doll, and having a great time. Oh my goodness, Ross. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
That is cool that you remember that too as well, Vic.
Yes. And you know what? Speaking of Chris Doohan, I would be remiss not to tell everybody that right now, because it's cooler in South Georgia, we Neutral Zone Studios, they are the group that own our sets now. When we finished our series, they took over the sets, and Ray Tessie, another awesome Italian guy, took over the studio. And he opens it up for people to walk through the sets one weekend every month. It was closed during the summer months because it's just too hot down there. But we started back up in September, and I go down there and I walk people through and tell them about the building of the sets and the making of our series, and answer questions. And They can take pictures and walk through it. It's like stepping into a dream. And if any of you are interested in something like that, and I'm sure there are hundreds, thousands of people around the world that would give anything to walk through the original soundstage, a replica of the original soundstage.
Yes.
Go to neutralzonestudios.com. And I was there in September one weekend. I was there in October one weekend. Unfortunately, I'm booked every weekend in November, so I'm not going to be there in November. It's the first time in 3 years. But I'll be back in December, January, February, March. So you guys go to Neutral Zone Studios and look up Fan Appreciation Weekends. I'll be down there conducting the walkthroughs, and there are several people in your your brother wants you to take him, Roger. There are several people in the chat right now who have been through the sets and know how amazing it is. When those turbo lift doors open at the end of the corridor and you're looking down that bending corridor and you can walk in one room, into the next room, into the next room without ever leaving the sets. I mean, you're in it, you know, you can get lost in it until you come out the other end. It's truly extraordinary.
Yeah, as I've said before in other times that we've talked about the studio, my fondest memory was when there was a lady that I'd seen go past me like at least 3 times. And I stopped her and I said, "How many times have you walked down the corridor?" And she, 5 times. And it was tears of joy. I mean, she just, you cannot explain it to people until you are there and you do it.
Yeah. I have seen every conceivable reaction of emotion. I've seen people jump up and down. I've seen people spray profanity because they couldn't believe what they were seeing. I've seen people sob. I've seen people laugh. I've seen people hug each other that they came with, people they came with. It is a once in a lifetime thing. And you know what, you guys? It's free. Ray Tessie does not charge any kind of admission to do that. He can't legally, and he doesn't want to, because he just wants it to be available for people to enjoy. Ray knows what I know and what you guys know, and that is that there are literally millions of people around the world that would give anything to walk through and experience the original series Enterprise. And it's available. There is the official tour in upstate New York.
Yes.
And they've got an amazing version of the setup there. And then our sets are where we shot a series. It's not a museum. It's a soundstage. And
it's a working set.
Exactly. In fact, I dare say it's what you would have seen had you gone to Desilu in the late 60s. You would not have seen 4 walls and a ceiling. You would not have seen, a museum. You would have seen a soundstage with lights up above the sets pointing down, no ceilings, and usually one wall would be gone. And there'd be they would be sets for shooting a TV show. And that's what we have down in Kingsland, Georgia. Check out neutralzonestudios.com for more information on coming to visit.
Vic, what was your moment in this run at Star Trek Continues? Your moment when maybe you stopped and you took it all in. Other people may not have been on that, but it was your moment when you realized, wow, we're doing this, or I'm here. What was that moment, that realization? It's like, those rare quiet moments. We all have them.
Yeah, you know what? Those moments happened for me. Believe it or not, those moments happened for me when I was sitting with my laptop and the footage that we shot, editing the episode.
Oh, okay.
It didn't usually happen on set because I was so focused on lighting, camera, sound, acting, blocking. That costume's ripped. Go fix that makeup. He needs powder. That light's not hitting him right. You know, you're problem solving, and you're trying to get everything shot within the schedule and the time that you've set up. And it's almost like you don't really have time to smell the roses. You know what I mean? You're just go,
Right.
go, go, go. But when I would take all the footage home on a flash, on a USB drive, and I would sit on my MacBook Pro and edit every episode of our series. And I would look at the shots and I would cut them together and tell the stories. And I would sit there going, I can't believe we did this. Like, I can't believe that's me. Like, I know that's me. And I know I built that. And I know I wrote this. And I know that's me right there. But it's almost like an out-of-body experience.
Yes, that's
And
what I was
even
wondering.
now, you guys, when I watch our episodes, and I don't just sit and watch our episodes, by the way. I know them very well, and I've seen them all many times. I edited them. I, wrote some of them, directed some of them, acted in all of them. So I know them intimately well. I don't sit and watch them, but occasionally I'll stumble across one, like a couple of days ago. There was a live viewing party, and somebody sent me a link, and I thought, well, I'll just click on the link and see what they're doing. And they were watching. It was the last 15 minutes of the last episode.
Uh-oh.
And I sat there watching it going, I know we did this. I mean, I know that's me, and I know that's our set. And I know I cut this scene together, and I know I chose that music, and I mean, I know that we did it. And yet it feels like when it was finished and released, the sum became greater, the whole became greater than the sum of its parts. You know what I mean? It became something outside of us. And people in our production team used to tease me sometimes because I would always talk about Captain Kirk doing this and Kirk doing that and Kirk saying this. And they're like, you mean you? And I'm like, well, yeah. But I didn't even think about it like that, because to me, you know what I mean? It was like separate from me. And I think the first moment when Chris Doohan and I were in the turbo lift waiting to walk out onto the bridge, we were getting ready to shoot the first scene of our first episode on the bridge. And Chris Doohan and I were in the turbo lift, and the doors were shut, right? And the camera was on the outside, and everything was happening out in the bridge. And on action, the doors were going to open, and me and Chris Doohan were going to walk in. And for the first time, I was going to try to play this character that I loved so much. And I was terrified, because I thought, what if I'm no good? You know what I mean? What if it sucks? What if I can't do justice to this character that I loved so much? So it was really daunting. And Chris Doohan kind of felt the same way too, because Chris isn't even an actor by trade. He's in medicine. He's in medical equipment and sales and medicine. And I contacted him, and he agreed to do it. And when we were standing in that turbo lift, he's looking at me in my perfect Kirk uniform, and I'm looking at him in his perfect Scotty uniform. And we're just looking at each other with fear in our eyes, like, are we really going to try to do this? Like, oh my God. And then the doors open and we go out, and, and the rest, as they say, is history. Right. But that first moment of wondering if it's going to be any good, and if you can really do it or not. I've told people a lot at conventions and other interviews, there are a lot of things that people fantasize about doing, and they talk about doing, but they, somewhere in the back of their minds, they know they'll never get to do that. Like, I'd love to fly an F-16. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
I'm never going to get to do that. I can talk about it. I can fantasize about it, but I'm never going to get to do it. I'd love to climb Mount Everest. Yeah, I'm never going to do that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'd love to go to space with Bill Shatner. I'm not going to get to do that, And another one of those fantasies. Wouldn't it be cool to play Captain Kirk? Wouldn't it be cool to be on the Enterprise and to step onto a perfect set in a perfect uniform and play your childhood hero? You can talk about that all you want because you're never going to get to do it. And then suddenly, through a crazy turn of events, you're getting to do it. Suddenly you have to put up, you know what I mean? Suddenly you have to deliver. And it was quite daunting.
And deliver you did. Not one, not two. Oh, jeez, I'm sorry. How many episodes?
11.
And
5 vignettes, right?
We shot 3 vignettes before we ever shot our first episode, and I'll tell you why. Because I wanted to introduce the world to these actors in these roles. I didn't want the first episode to be the first time that anyone saw us in these roles. I wanted to kind of, dip your feet in the pool gently. Like, here's Chris Doohan as Scotty, here's me as Kirk, here's Chuck Huber as McCoy. You know what I mean? Here, these are the actors that are going to play these roles now. So by the time the first episode comes out, you already know that it's different people playing the characters, and it's not quite so jarring. That was my my logic behind. Thank you for coming, Wild Talon.
Yeah. Kenny's talking about a flight simulator, 737. So he says he can make that happen.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there it is.
Yeah.
Quick shout out, Ari Seaman, another like, Bunny Stone. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yes, it is. And we are on VIX time. We'd agreed on a time. So I want to let everyone know that we are on VIX time. We've gone over our kind of agreed upon time. So I'm not trying to put it on him, but I want to remind him that this is what he was thinking about.
Yeah,
and
that's okay.
Yeah, so we are on VIX time, but all the commentary that we're getting right here is absolutely awesome.
Does anyone have any questions from your chat room?
Yes, please. My brother did say
some of them.
I'm sorry?
Let's involve some of them.
Yes, definitely. Now, when I was talking about that moment, my brother was talking about the Reuben James FFG. That's from the Tom Clancy novel, either The Hunt for Red October or I forget which of the movies. So I know what he's talking about right there. Ross says, it's like Vegas. Roger hides all the clock. Hey. You know what? I'm fortunate. That we just have a conversation. Look, where Vic is graciously giving of his time. He doesn't have to do this, but in the age of social media, in the age of new technology, they give more than what was expected of them, from 10, 20 years ago. And you are so kind, Vic. I
will please say nothing of it, because I am so incredibly grateful and humbled that people have enjoyed the work that we did, that I am always honored and happy to talk with people about it, answer questions, and share our experiences.
Just very quickly, I was wondering if you would be interested in doing something over once your episodes maybe get to 10 years. Would you be interested in doing what some DVDs and Blu-ray movies do, where they have a commentary track?
We've been asked to do commentary tracks of our episodes, and we've talked about doing it many, many times. We just haven't ever gotten around to doing it.
Okay. We're going to follow up with you. Maybe we could do it live and have a few others of your cast and crew join us. There was a comment earlier. It would be
really nice to have them available for people on the internet to listen to as they watch the episodes. That would be really neat.
Yes, and I was shocked as well when that happened.
Yeah.
Yes, Ross Grant was one of the kindest people I've ever known. He was such a kind guy. Such a nice guy, and it was such an honor to have him as a part of our series. And in fact, we have a nameplate on the in the corridor next to one of the doors that has Hikaru Sulu's quarters and number and says, "In memory of Grant Imahara." Neutral Zone Studios graciously made this beautiful, laminated nameplate to put there in honor of Grant.
Yeah. Mecha talks about rest in peace. Folks, tell us, you have any questions? I'm trying to go through them right now, and I really do apologize if I'm missing some, but we have a lot of commentary. Thank you, Thirsty Chicken. I'm just happy to be here. Vic's the one that
Thank
is
you, Thirsty.
Yeah, I remember the first time I met Grant on set, and I was talking to somebody else up on another part of the bridge, and it was, I don't know if it was the first time or one of the first that he got into character of Sulu, and I got shivers. I mean, it was like,
and he had so much fun. You guys, I cannot overstate this. Everybody had a great time.
It looks like it.
And thank you, Raj, because you know what? And this is something else that's true of a lot of productions. Either you push, and you you make your day and you finish your episode and you get everything shot, and at the end of the day, everybody hates each other, and they just can't wait to get back to their hotels and be away from everybody. Or you have a wonderful time on set, everybody's laughing, everybody's having a great time, and you don't get anything done. Usually it's one of those two. And I got to tell you, Star Trek Continues was such a paradox. It was such an anomaly because we had so much fun. Everybody was enjoying what they were doing. And yet we were still on schedule, making something special, getting it done. We had no reshoots.
Wow.
Now, we shot every episode in the 8 to 10 days that we had allotted to shoot the episode. And I would take the footage home and have it edited in a matter of weeks while the special effects guys were making the Enterprise shots or the phaser shots or the beaming shots or whatever. And then I would drop those in. And then I'd send the finished edit to Ralph Miller, who would work on the sound design. I'd send the rough cut to Matt Busey, and we would color grade the episode. And then I would go down to Ralph's house, and we would mix in my music selections for the whole episode and spit out a finished stereo mix, combine it with the color graded episode. And we were cranking out episodes that were not only better than anyone had ever done, but faster than anyone had ever done.
Yeah, you did 1 year. You did 4 episodes, right?
Yes, our last year we did 8, 9, 10, and 11.
Yeah. Right now, Bassman asks, where did STC get such beautifully perfect uniforms?
Well, the answer to that, Dan, is that our original hero uniforms were Anovos.
Wow.
That's the company that made the official replicas. And I'm good friends with Joe and Dana, the guys that started Anovos. And I contacted them and I said, would you be willing to donate hero costumes for our main characters?
Sure.
And then our wardrobe supervisor and her amazing team, they made additional uniforms for extras and background people. And then every time we needed original character costumes even, Ginger and Hannah and Hibba and their wardrobe team made these most amazing costumes. So whether they were trying to replicate an original series character's costume, like for instance, Edith Keeler in The White Iris, in our 4th episode, you see Edith Keeler, you see Miramani, you see Reyna. And those women, when you saw them, had to be wearing what they were wearing in the original series. Yeah. So our wardrobe team not only were able to create amazing replicas of the original series costumes, the Romulan uniforms. Oh my gosh, perfection. But they were also able to design and create new characters that weren't in the original series, but they had the challenge of making it look like it belonged in that era. John Delancey's character, Annie Lockhart's character, Colin Baker's character, these characters that were not in the original series, from planets and alien cultures that were not in the original series. They have to wear something. So our wardrobe supervisor's challenge was not just making Star Trek uniforms, although they did plenty of that. Her challenge and her team's challenge was also designing and creating original costumes. Rekha Sharma's costume in episode 8. They needed to make something that looked like it fit into that universe. And they did an amazing job with that.
Amazing, yes. Ross is asking this question, but he may not have been here for a moment. I believe you said it was episode 8, right?
No, I said that 9 was one of my favorites.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Ross,
9. Okay.
Ross, I'm going to tell you, you're right. I am very, very proud of all of our episodes. And I have so much blood in every one of those episodes. Me and so many other people poured so much love and work and passion into making our episodes. I love them all dearly. But if I had to pick a favorite, I think my favorite, as somebody who loved Captain Kirk, let me preface it by saying that. As somebody who loved Captain Kirk and loved that character, I think my favorite was probably our 4th episode, The White Iris. The White Iris was basically a story about Kirk having to deal with his own regrets and loss and shame and guilt over decisions he had to make and people that he loved and lost. And that was a side of Kirk we never really saw in the original series. And so that was an incredibly powerful episode that I'm very proud of. Craig, in answer to your question there, I'll answer that. The sets were built probably by 15 or 20 different people who volunteered a lot of time. When we started building the sets, we were partnering with Starship Farragut, as some of you know. Michael knows that. We were partnering with Farragut, and Farragut had a small building just down the highway in St. Mary's. And they had a portion of the bridge that they had built, and it was spectacular. None of the lights worked. It didn't have any flashing lights, but they had built a portion of the bridge, and they had a couple of other pieces of sets, but they weren't to scale. They had a transporter room, but it wasn't to scale because the building wasn't big enough to do that. And after I directed an episode for Farragut, I had this idea that what if I were to rent a larger building just down the street, and you guys move the bridge over there, and then we'll draw up the floor plans and we'll build everything. And I'll put in tens of thousands of dollars of my own money, because of course, you have to rent the building, you have to buy the raw materials, all that kind of stuff. And then there were people down there that live locally, Royal Weaver, Greg Green, several others who helped build sets for Farragut. And so they came in and started building. I went down there at least a dozen times so I could be a part of it. I just wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to help build. I've always loved building sets and stuff like that. So there were probably at least 15 or 20 volunteers, maybe even more, who donated voluntary time to come and help build the sets. Now, after Farragut decided to finish their series and they moved on and we took over the studio completely, it was at that point that we moved into the other half of the building and built engineering, which had never been done. And then we built the planet set, which had never been done. And then we built several other sets for like the courtroom for episode 7, the council chamber for episode 9 that John Delancey was in. All of those sets had to be built by our team down there, William Smith, Royal Weaver, several others that would come down and help build. Oh my gosh. John Roberts, Dan Scanlon. Oh my goodness, I shouldn't have started because now I'm not going to be able to remember them all.
Yeah, I understand that.
So many people.
Yeah.
We've done people wrong that way too, and it's not our intent. By far from.
Sean,
Yeah.
I can answer that for you. The phasers that we used were actually hybrids. I don't know if you know this or not, but part of my plan in starting to bridge the gap between the original series and Next Gen was that I got Scott Nakata he's an amazing prop builder online. And I got him to kind of customize a phaser for us that at first glance from a distance looks like the original phaser. But when you get close to it, you can see that there are several adjustments that are moving toward Next Generation. So he made, yes, Sam Rooks, thank you. He made these hero phasers for us, and then we made resin castings and made prop stunt versions so that we had 15 or 20 of them, right? So that security guards could have them, and if we needed a close-up of a hero, we had that. And the communicators were the regular original communicators. We actually had an idea of having Scott do something similar with the communicators, but we never got around to doing it. But that's, yes, Mark Bell is unbelievable. Doug Drexler started out doing our Enterprise model, and then a few episodes in, he got busy working on a show for a network, and Mark Bell from Ireland stepped in, and he is unbelievable. His Enterprise model is second to none. His work on our series is beyond unbelievable. Yes, Kenny, Nichelle Nichols has actually been to our set. Sat in the captain's chair and did a little interview there. And of course, Judy Burns was on the original sets when she wrote the Tholian Web, and she's been down to our studio. Bijo Trimble and her husband have been to our sets. Now, obviously,
Wow.
they're actors from the original series, but they were there, and they've been down. But my idea with Star Trek Continues was to bring actors in from other famous TV shows.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Not just Star Trek alumni, but Buck Rogers and Star Wars and Doctor Who and Battlestar Galactica. Yes. Yeah. So Incredible Hulk. So that was,
yes.
I wanted to kind of branch out and have our guest stars be from a lot of different TV franchises.
I want to tell you, Vic, as a personal comment, I mentioned to you before we went live, you guys had me in the second episode when Dr. McKenna answers, embarrassingly enough.
Oh, yeah.
That was yes to the no. But in my notes, as I have my post-it notes, I now remember the line that captured me was, "You need to heal." And you spoke about that 10 minutes ago in that episode. It was so well done. Vic, I could have seen that. I did see it on the big screen, but I easily could have seen that in the television run. That was impressive.
Thank
that
you.
was some.
Thank you. Well, every one of the writers, every one of the writers that you mentioned, Roger, took the challenge took the goal very seriously, and that was to tell stories that could have been original Star Trek stories, something with a theme, something with a message that has a point to make. And so, you know, like I said, I set the bar very high that any episode we did needed to really have a story and a real theme, a point to make, a message to get across. And every one of our writers knocked it out of the park.
Oh, hell yeah.
Whether it was about child abuse,
Yep.
or immigration, or women being in positions of leadership, or self-sacrifice as a form of life energy, or sex trafficking, or slave trade, or so many things. We endeavored to write stories and perform stories that that felt like the original series, because Star Trek wasn't about beaming down. I mean, I'm sorry, and with all due respect to all fan productions everywhere, God bless you. Have fun. Do your thing. But Star Trek wasn't about fighting Klingons. And it wasn't about beaming down. It wasn't about flipping open communicators. It was about the human condition. It was about telling stories about our own frailties and challenges and couching them in an imaginative setting, and treating the audience like intelligent people, not beating them over the head with a point, but actually providing both sides of an argument and let the audience decide what they think and how they feel about this very difficult question, or this moral dilemma. And I could not be more proud of everyone that worked on our series. I know I've said that several times, and I should say it several more times, and it still won't be enough. Everybody that volunteered their time and talents on our series. Matt Busey, our director of photography, and his camera team. Will Smith, the prop and set team. Lisa Hansel, Tim Vidito, the makeup team. Scotty Whitehurst, first AD. Megan Warner, production unit supervisor. Ginger Holly and her wardrobe team. Jay Pennington, he's another guy that lives down locally who worked on the sets and was always there. So many people gave so much, and I hope they are as proud of what they did as I am proud of what they did.
Vic, I'm not in the business, but I envy you in what you were able to do, to be able to live that. You didn't play it, you lived it, and you shared it by giving it to us. Okay, I butchered my. I'm getting emotional. Star Trek has meant a lot to me too, and
yeah,
I owe you a professional, personal apology. Like I said, I really wasn't into the idea of people playing Kirk again.
Sure.
Boy, was I wrong.
But I'm with you. I understand that. I completely understand that. That's why I said what I said a little while ago about being terrified by the prospect and how daunting it was, because I wanted to do it justice. And
yeah, you did.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And you know what? About 2 or 3 episodes in, we started to realize and we started to get a sense that there were a lot of fans out there living vicariously through us, that they couldn't be on set playing Spock or playing Kirk or McCoy or Scotty or any of their childhood heroes, but they were watching us get to do it, and they could see how much we loved doing it. They could see how much passion and love we were pouring into making it. And so we always felt, when we were shooting episodes, we always felt like, there were people out there that we were doing what they would love to do, and we were representing them,
That's high praise right there from Bassman Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah. I would. We're running way over.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Ask you, no. It's and I apologize. It's just I feel that we're taking from you, and you're just incredibly polite. But if I could get one final one in,
yes.
How did you guys do? Okay, I'm watching the episodes. I'm glued, but you guys did some great work on the episode, and I forget the episode where you brought the lookalikes, the shots of Scotty and Uhura. How did you guys do that in that one? Was it the where you visited the Defiant again because it looked like them. The lookalikes. I'm trying to
Oh,
remember.
well, I think you're talking about like Amy Rydell, who played her mother's role as the Romulan commander, and like people couldn't believe it. She looked so much like her mother; it was unbelievable.
Really? That's her daughter.
And of course, Chris Doohan is Jimmy.
Of course, yeah. But it was like, oh my god, it was like them.
Well, yeah, and then
how did you guys do that? It really looked like them.
Asia DeMarcos played Marlena, and people contacted Barbara Luna and said, "You haven't changed a bit." And Barbara's like, "That's not me." 50 years ago. But we were very successful at getting people that were good, and a lot of that has to do with makeup and lighting. To help, our makeup department knew what these characters look like, and there are certain makeup techniques that you can use to contour faces and to try to help make people look like they're. Like for instance, I don't know, hypothetically, if my nose is bigger than Bill Shatner's, there are makeup techniques to minimize the size of your nose, the way it looks on camera. You know what I mean? Or, Or if somebody's jaw line is different than the character they're supposed to be portraying. There are shading techniques and makeup techniques and lighting techniques that you can light a person a certain way to change the shape of make their jaw look different, or to change the shape of their face. There are also camera lenses that will change the look of a character. Yeah. I love anyone that was on our series will tell you that I always loved the 85 millimeter lens, because that was the close-up lens that we used. And the 85 millimeter is a long lens, and the camera would be 10 feet away, but you're seeing this close.
Yeah.
And it would compress the face a little bit. And it's just a beautiful lens. People just looked beautiful on the 85. So whenever we would shoot a scene, we do all the wide shots and the covers, and then we get into close-ups and we break out the 85. So there are many contributing factors to helping, make people look a certain way on camera.
Yeah, it's amazing. Obviously, being in the industry, you knew what you were doing. Getting all these people to be involved, it was absolutely awesome.
Well, we brought in a lot of people who knew what they were doing, and I think that's really the key. There are a lot of fans out there, and they love Star Trek, and they want to make Star Trek fan films, and that's great. Go ahead and do that. God bless you. But
stories
and actors who can portray the emotions of the stories. You know what I mean? If you had a powerful story and you had bad actors, the story would fall to pieces. And if you had good actors with a crappy story, it wouldn't be that great. And if it was cut too slow, if the editing was too slow, or the lighting didn't look like Star Trek, or the music choices were not right, or any number of things could go wrong. The sound was bad.
And so many people have to contribute to that to make it work.
Exactly. Yeah. And I am not in any way dissing any other fan film.
No.
You have to know what your capabilities are. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If somebody were to say to me, "Hey, Vic, you're not a very good basketball player," I wouldn't go, "Hey, you want to fight? How dare you?" No. You know why? Because I'm not a good basketball player. I'm not very tall. I don't play basketball much. I've played other sports. But that's not an insult to say I'm not a basketball player. You know what I mean? So if you're going to make something, make it out of love and enjoy it, but at least be realistic with what your capabilities are. If you don't know anything about filmmaking, if you don't have any acting background, if you don't know how to craft a scene or to edit footage together properly, or to create a lighting moment, You just don't know what you don't know. Just accept that. Don't take that as an insult. Just be who you are. Have fun with your fan production. But you know what I mean? But don't imagine yourself to be something that you're not. I brought in people who loved Star Trek, but they were also very, very good at what they did. And that's the key. Matt Busey liked Star Trek, but he is a great director of photography. He's a great cameraman. And he studied the lighting of the original series to know how to light the sets and the actors. That's not an accident. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Those things don't happen by accident. You have to know how to do those things. And people that spend their lives acting, studying acting, taking acting classes, performing, you know, they put the time in and the effort in to be good at that. And that's their specialty. Other people, it's lighting. Other people, it's wardrobe. Other people, it's makeup. Other people, it's sound. We just were fortunate enough to bring in people that not only loved Star Trek, but they were also really good at what they did.
Mm-hmm.
And at every level, I'm incredibly proud of our team.
Yeah, it shows. And I know we're going to reach out now to, since you've been on with us, quite frankly, it makes it a lot easier to reach out to the rest of the cast. So I know we're going to be reaching out to them. But Vic, all kidding aside, I'm no one to say this, but I'm going to look at the calendar moving forward, and maybe 10 years from the episode date, or 5 years from the episode date, it'd be kind of neat if you guys would be interested in doing something like that. Just do it live, watch the episode, and comment as you go along. Let me tell you.
That would be a lot of fun.
Yes, because there's no takebacks. It's all live.
Well, yeah, and
you get what you
would
get.
We would probably record it so that people could enjoy it. You know, people who were not able to tune in live would be able to enjoy the commentary, but it would be a lot of fun to do that. But listen, I want to thank you guys, Roger, Michael, thank you for having me. And also thank you, all of you guys that are in the chat room, everybody that's watching. Thank you so much. If you haven't seen our series yet, StarTrekContinues.com.
Yep.
All the episodes and dozens of behind the scenes videos are there, free to watch, all free to watch. Let your friends and family in your circle that love Star Trek know about it. And also NeutralZoneStudios.com. Yes. That's where you can find out information about coming to visit the sets. You fly right into Jacksonville, Florida. It's a major city international airport. You drive 25 minutes up 95 to this beautiful little town called Kingsland, Georgia. Plenty of hotels, restaurants. It's a great little town. We would take it over. 35 or 40 of us in our production would take it over every time we'd go there to shoot an episode. I love that little city. And you guys make your plans if you've got any interest at all in walking through the original soundstage, as about as close to Desilu as you're going to get. Check out NeutralZoneStudios.com.
Yeah, I know we're going to have to do that. Vic, wow. Thank you. This was enlightening. It was emotional. It is. I kid you not. Vic, thank you for doing what you did.
Thank you.
It allows us to enjoy the professionalism and the love, the stories.
So many people create things just out of a desire to create them. But if somebody likes what you did, that's, you know what I mean? That's extra special. That's more than you could hope for. There are plenty of people out there that love to draw, and no one will ever see their artwork. They just like to draw. Or they love to write songs, but no one will ever hear their songs. Maybe they dance, put on music and dance around their house, but no one will ever see them dance. No one will applaud for them. No one will herald the magnificence of their artwork. But we did this because we loved Star Trek and we wanted to pay tribute to it. There was no illusion about whether or not anyone would like it. So the fact that so many people have is beyond humbling. It is above and beyond what I think any of us that were part of STC ever imagined. And I will forever be grateful for everyone who's enjoyed it.
And one final thing, everything that was donated to Star Trek Continues, everything that was earned by Star Trek Continue, I say that word carefully, through the Kirk starters, I think you said,
Yeah,
it all ended up on screen.
Oh my goodness!
Remember that,
It
folks.
did. It sure did. It surely did.
That's
You
why I was being
wouldn't
sarcastic
we
earlier.
didn't even talk about finances, but you wouldn't believe we made our entire series. I'm just going to say this. I'm just going to leave this out there. We made our entire series. I'm talking full cast, full crew, full sets, 11-hour-long episodes. We made our whole series for less than half of what some other people have raised and made nothing.
Oh.
So
No names.
I'm going to leave that out there. Exactly.
Why? Why even bother?
Because they don't deserve to be. They don't even deserve to be named. But the point is, we made our episodes for an unbelievably low amount because most people volunteered their time and efforts. So the real costs of our episodes were raw materials to build sets, renting paying the building rent every month,
big one,
flying everybody down there, right, to shoot the episodes, getting them hotel rooms, paying for them to have food they have to eat, buying materials for costumes to be made, renting camera equipment. They were all hard costs to get everybody down there and feed them, you know. So it's unbelievable. I mean, when you consider what we did and the quality of what we did, and then you find out what we did it for financially, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's clear, folks. It was a labor of love. It was a childhood
Yes, Mindy,
dream come
you hit
true.
it right on the head there.
Yes,
it was all labor of love.
But that labor of love we're the beneficiaries. You have the memories of doing it. We have the memories of seeing what you guys did. Vic, as a hardcore fan, I am eternally grateful for what you guys did, and I look forward to being able to speak to you and to everyone else involved in the future.
Thank you.
It's very kind of you of what you did today. You doubled the time that you said. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I didn't even talk about anime.
You. I know. I told you.
Yeah, we didn't.
You know what? Everybody
come back, Vic.
Everybody in the chat room, do you know what Roger said to me before we got on? He said, well, if there's any dead space or like it's dragging, and I'm like, you clearly don't know me because
that was a mistake.
There's not going to be any shortage of things to talk about. That's for sure.
I think it's just because I was tired and not feeling well. So I apologize, folks. I think that's what it was. I don't know what I was saying.
You and your brother Lewis need to get down to the studio in December.
Oh, now you're holding me to that.
In December or January. You need to come down in December or January when I'm there, and let me walk you through the sets. And I want to watch you experience it. My favorite thing, one of the reasons I go down there to give these walkthroughs is because the only thing better than building it is watching other people enjoy.
Yep, I totally agree.
And I just love to see the look on people's faces when they walk down that corridor, into the transporter room, into sick bay, into the briefing room, engineering, the bridge, Jeffrey's tube, yep. Captain's quarters. I mean, it's really my favorite thing.
Wow. All right.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yes, Vic, absolutely awesome. I thank you. You are absolutely awesome. You treat fandom incredibly well. I thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thanks. Hope to get to see you soon. Thank you again.
All right. We'll see you guys. All right. Thank you, Vic. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go and finish up now. And we're a little unbalanced there.
Yeah, there you go.
This was absolutely awesome. I'm sorry I was not able to get to all of the comments. But yes, we're just going to take a few extra minutes to finish up. Yes, I actually did say that, Vic. I was trying to say something else, and he laughed it off professionally. He says, "You don't know me." So, well, yeah, kind of a little bit. But it was absolutely awesome. If it was a wonderful program, it was because of Vic. We get to spend time with him. And folks, forgive me. I'm not proselytizing or anything, but because Michael contacted Vic, whether he knew him or not is immaterial, Vic said yes. We're lucky that they spend time with us. And we're lucky that you guys come to visit with us because we're just as much fans. I don't know if you guys noticed, but when he was talking about Mr. Forrest, Michael Forrest being on, and he talked about being a fanboy, I don't know if you guys saw me react, but I was like, oh yeah, like right now that I'm having with Vic. But I didn't want to say anything else. It was great. It was Vic. Michael and I were riding shotgun together, and it was fun. It was absolutely awesome. I want to thank all of you, and share the episode if you don't mind. Give us a like on Facebook. Give us a like on YouTube. That's where it helps us out. So we thank you. He'll be back, and I have a sneaky suspicion that we're going to be doing those episodes where they all come on and they talk about the episode that they filmed. That would be a lot of fun. If you guys can help us out by contacting all of them and saying, hey, we want to do a behind the scenes, the voiceovers like they do, the voice alternate tracks. Yes, the commentary tracks. That would be a lot of fun. He didn't say no because he's busy. So if we can get a lot of the others to come in, and if you know any of the other people that were on Star Trek Continues, we'd love to have them on too. But we're going to reach out to them. But anyway, Michael, I want to thank you. You clearly set this one up. This was absolutely awesome. So I thank you for this. This was great. I'm definitely under the weather. I'm not feeling it, but you made this one. Thank you. And everyone else, all of your comments by everyone in the chat room. Absolutely awesome. I'm sorry that we weren't able to get to all of your comments. But I think we're going to finish up now, Michael. We're finally going to finish up before midnight your time, huh?
Not by much.
Thank you, guys. It was awesome because it was a conversation with Vic. Vic made the episode. We're just happy to be a part of it. Folks, we don't have anything really scheduled next week, any guests or anyone, but we are going to be on, again, Monday Night America. We're going to be doing some of the topical stuff we normally do. But if you have anyone that you would like us to interview, let them know. Maybe they'll be on with us. But I thank you. Oh, dude, you made him laugh. You made him laugh. There's no doubt about it. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your commentary. This was one of our largest audiences ever. Live. Because our audiences, unfortunately, are after the fact, huh, Michael?
Yeah.
Our jaws drop when we see the numbers skyrocket after the live. So having everyone that we had live in here was absolutely great. Thank you, Alan. I didn't see that a moment ago. Yes. You guys know the shot that I said about who should not be named. That's why I said, oh, Voldemort? Oh, very good, Alan. I appreciate that. So it was good. You guys made it. It was Vic that made it. We're just happy to be here. That's it. Every Monday night, 7 p.m., you guys can catch our other episodes right here on our Facebook page, on our YouTube page, but our Facebook page has them all. It is facebook.com, not meta.com, facebook.com NDB Media. Or you can find us on our YouTube page as well. I appreciate all the comments, guys, but Michael and I are just happy to be here. Anything else, Michael, you want to get to right now?
I don't think so, but do look, on our Facebook page or our NDB Media YouTube channel. We've got some good stuff out there. We've been doing some interviews the last couple of months that are kind of different from what we normally used to do. So you might see something there that might interest you. So,
yeah. So it's really good. And I thank you guys. Oh, this is directed at you. Good luck with your music video, Michael.
Thank you.
Should that have been stated on air?
No, that's fine. I just talked to them today. So
we will not say for who, but you're working on a major project.
Yeah, if I get it.
I think it's an international project, is it not?
It is. Yeah, it's just a matter if I get the commission or not. But I'm hoping.
All right. Very nice.
Ross gave me some good advice. So.
And you know what? My adrenaline just left. I'm done.
There you go.
No, thank you guys. Thanks for hosting, Vic. That was the easy part on us, him saying yes. And then he's the entertainer. But we learned. I asked our guests, and notice, I didn't have to ask Vic this. But I ask all of our guests, what does Star Trek mean to you? You better go back and listen the entire episode.
Yeah, the whole thing. Whole thing.
That is one of the most complex answers I've ever heard to one of my questions. And the funny thing is, I never asked the question.
No, you did
and
not.
We still got the answer.
It's the only time you haven't asked it.
And we still got the answer.
And you got the answer. Yeah.
That is so neat. He took us through that story, and that was absolutely awesome. So, thanks, Luis. That's my brother right there. So, yes, we have to head. Now I feel bad. Stop it! All right, folks. We're belaboring this. It's all good. This is Monday Night in America. Thank you, Vic Mignogna, for joining us, and thank you, Michael. And that's good. Join us next week. If you have any ideas, anyone you want us to reach out to, go ahead. Help us out. Help us out. All right, Michael, take us away. For me, I'm Roger Noriega. He's Michael Day. We'll see you guys on the other side. Michael, take us away.
Enjoy. See you next time.